private investigation needs, as well as weapons training, definitely give our 30 agency a shout. They are great. We really, really appreciate your sponsorship, and we'll hear more from our other sponsor later. We'd ask you to like and share and subscribe to our channels, both on YouTube and Rumble, as well as our social media platforms. Please get this episode out. We are going to have, I think, a fiery but mostly peaceful conversation about some local stuffs.
We're going to light it up tonight.
We're going to light it up. Woo! It's the holiday season. Merry Christmas.
Yes,
we're
Merry
excited to
Christmas.
be here. So definitely give that a like, share, subscribe. And I think that is it for announcements, right?
I think so.
All right.
I think you did good.
Who wants to start us off?
Jessica said she had a lot to discuss.
I do. I have so much information tonight.
Are we going to have to get the hook and be like, okay, that's enough? No, I'm just kidding.
Possibly. I'm going to try to bullet point things as much as possible just so I can get all of the information out there. So first of all, on Sunday, December 10th at the Palm Beach Post, local lawmakers article came out about some bills that they are working on. A couple things that I thought were interesting was that HB 253 and SB 488 is from Representative Mike Caruso and Tina Polsky. Boca Raton would establish a pilot program that allows Medicaid recipients to buy medically tailored meals. The idea is to marry behavioral health counseling with good nutrition through this program.
You said Medicare or Medicaid?
Medicaid.
Interesting.
That sounds expensive.
And yeah, right. And then HB 343 and SB 256 is Representative Kelly Skidmore and Senator Lauren Book is filed a bill to rein in the Florida Pregnancy Care Network, which has largely gone unregulated. The bill requires the Florida Department of Health to conduct annual financial audits of network organizations and mandates the network to provide medically accurate information and make available rape, crisis, and sexual assault information to clients.
Wait. Who was regulating that?
The Florida Pregnancy Care Network, Inc. And then this one was an interesting one. SB 22 and HB 301 was Senator Gail Harrell, is that how it's pronounced? And Representative Joe Casello.
What?
Yeah.
Joe's doing something?
Yeah, but listen to this. Wants better regulations regarding animal cremations.
I feel like that's an oxymoron. Better regulations.
The bill requires written descriptions of pet cremation services and imposes penalties for misleading procedures.
I'm sorry. Are they that bored?
I mean, Joe Casello doesn't do much.
No,
so,
very true.
Just the fact that he's, has something, I think maybe
he has an opponent this time around, so it's kind of lighting. I mean,
right?
He's had an opponent, but I think he's a little nervous this time around. Maybe it's lighting a fire under his tush.
Yeah, it really sounds that way. So,
pet cremations.
I just thought that was interesting. There's a few.
People can't afford groceries, but let's put laws about pet cremations.
Peggy Gottsatzeinman has something out there with Lori Berman to shift state responsibility for the bacterial sampling of beach waters from the Florida Department of Health to the Florida Department of Environmental Protection.
Not sure how I feel about that.
But definitely as we start to go into session that starts here in a few weeks, that's kind of what our local representatives are working on. So again, that the full article was in the Palm Beach Post on Sunday, December 10th, if you want to check that out. Was hearing some things. Mac Bernard, Commissioner, District 7, is kind of starting to talk about a Senate race. So he must be getting...
Like a Florida State Senate or like Senate?
Florida State Senate.
Oh, okay.
So that's interesting. So we kind of heard rumblings about that, but I actually kind of heard a little thing, coming out of his mouth directly. So keep an eye on him. We're going to be focusing on more of the races that are coming up in the municipals and stuff probably in January. So we'll break down that a little bit. But I thought it was interesting that he was kind of...
I mean, it's been rumored that
Is he termed out in the commission?
He's termed
Yeah.
out in the commission, and he's already served in the Florida House.
Yeah.
So his next logical step would be
Yes.
state senate if he's
Yep.
going to stay at state government level.
Yep.
and
So
not
we
go
heard
higher.
that he was looking for Bobby Powell's seat. So
Which Bobby Powell is Bobby Powell running
for commission.
for commission?
They're doing a little
they're gonna-
switcheroo.
They're just gonna swap it
They're
out.
gonna swap. I sat next to Bobby Powell at a luncheon a few weeks ago. It's very interesting.
Oh, all right.
There's not much conversation. It was during there was a speaker, so we didn't really get a chance to talk too much. But anyway,
All right. Yeah. So something to watch. See where Mac Bernard does have quite the following here in Palm Beach County.
people really like him.
Where is
People
his
do really
district?
like him. He is District 7, and it's very
Gerrymandered.
it's very wonky.
It's like this with
He cuts into
districts.
Delray, and then he's up towards Boynton, and then he's kind of in the center of
Does
the
he
county.
follow the 95 Dixie Highway corridor up? Does it
Kind
follow-
of.
Yeah.
And then,
Yeah.
but then
Yeah.
it leaps over and leapfrogs.
Yeah,
Is he
yeah.
he's not Royal Palm Beach, right?
I don't know off the top of my head. I'd have to look at a map.
Or is that Sarah? Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So, school board, very interesting. The new chairman of the school board is Karen Brill.
Mm-hmm.
She said that she wants to focus on getting things that are less, trying to make it so that it's less feisty, I guess. She's trying to make sure that they get kind of that the school board meetings are calmer. She said that she's done a good job the last couple meetings, and I did kind of hear that was true. So we'll see about that.
If you've been at a school board meeting, weigh in and tell us what you
Yeah.
think.
So and then the school board or the school district dropped from an A rating. They're now a high B.
Yeah.
Really?
Yes. So they are going to counter that. They're going to be doing some more group and one-on-one instruction to make sure that everything, so they get that A rating back as soon as possible.
More customer service?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's clearly what's working so well
Yeah,
for
it's
them.
Customer service oriented,
service.
right? And then another thing that I thought was very interesting with the school board is that Khan Academy, KHAN,
I've heard of this.
is an AI tutoring program. They're going to roll it out in 9 schools, I think right after winter break. And the goal is to be in all schools next year. So this might be something that parents want to pay attention to and how this is getting rolled out into their schools. And what AI is teaching your children.
or not teaching, or
not teaching or whatever. So a couple things from the school board that I thought was interesting that people should know about. Also, Palm Beach County officially launched their Connect app. So if you have your smartphone, make sure that you're checking Connect PBC. And it's basically the government website in app form, and then you can also lodge a couple complaints or service issues that you're having.
Is that
through
where they're
that.
going to be putting their public service announcements, like their noticed meetings and stuff?
That has not. No, I'm not aware of that.
Okay.
I think they're still working on that portion. I could be wrong, but
When Palm Beach Post lost the contract,
I
almost flipped their lid.
I know. So, but at least they have a full app launched, and you can access the agendas and everything from the app too. So
that's nice.
yeah. And then what's really cool is on pbc.gov, they have launched the budget book. So this breaks down the budget a little bit better, gives a little bit more details, and kind of does some frequently asked questions type of thing, where it was very clear of how the that we're a pass-through on billions of dollars, and that what is ad valorem, and so it kind of breaks it down a little bit. So if you guys are interested in the budget, and this is a good time to go through 2024's budget, so that when we come into towards the end of the first quarter, when budget season starts again, when they start looking at everything and evaluating, this is a good time for you to be attending meetings, finding out what's going on, and making sure that we're being fiscally responsible responsible as a county. So
I like that.
that I think is going to be huge. It literally just launched a couple days ago, so I haven't had a chance to kind of go through it, but I just kind of played in there, and I liked the information that was coming out. It made things a little bit more clear.
More like it's user friendly.
Yeah.
And like people can find the information and understand it pretty easily. All right.
Yes.
As opposed to a couple 100-page budget workbook.
Correct. Correct.
Which you open that and you're like,
Right.
Especially if you're like me, the non-numbers person in this crew.
It's bad enough for numbers people, and it's like,
Yeah. And then today is the shortest day of the year.
Yes.
It's winter solstice.
It is. It also, shout out, is our baby's birthday.
oh.
Yeah. Happy birthday, Shiloh.
Happy birthday, Shiloh.
And he was off school today, so we got to spend. We took him out for lunch. He wanted to go for Chick-fil-A at the mall, so we went for Chick-fil-A at the mall, which was traumatizing because I haven't been to the mall in a really long time, and there's so many people. And I was like, "What is this?" But he loved it. He had a blast. So he's home with the girls and my parents tonight, so he gets to spend his part of his birthday with his grandparents. So he's very
what a
excited.
great
But
present.
he always knows his birthday. He always asks constantly, "Is it winter yet? Is it winter yet? Is it
Oh,
winter
'cause he
yet?"
knows
Because
his
his birthday is the first day of winter. So happy birthday,
That's
Budsky.
awesome. That's awesome. Last thing is Form 6. So
yes.
we've got
Update.
we've got some updates. We got some information. So 12 municipalities are in the mix of some changes happening. So the Senate came out with a letter and says that this is basically Form 6 is to make sure that there's transparency on a local level, that from the governor, everybody else has to do it. So local levels, they pass millions of dollars that they should have to have a little skin in the game, basically.
So Form 6 is a form that
It's a financial disclosure form.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Just so everyone knows. And it was up until this was passed recently. We talked about this a few episodes ago, but up until, just a reminder for our audience, it was up until a few months ago, it was just for county commission level up.
There was a Form 1 that was required at the lower levels.
So like city council, school
boards.
boards.
I had to fill it out
Right.
because I was on the code enforcement board.
So then they passed this new
Yeah.
law that city council, do boards have to do Form 6 now too? Or is it
don't
just
know.
elected?
I don't know.
Okay. So for right now, so it's that's what that is. So I just wanted to remind our audience. Okay.
Right. So I'm going to run through these 12 municipalities so everybody's aware. So a couple things is I'll say the city and I'll let you know how many people resigned because they did not want to fill out Form 6. Now, a couple things I've heard that has happened is some of these have alternates already, so then those alternates just go into that seat. Some of them they can just appoint new members to the board because based on their individual charter. So that can be happening. A couple of the cities talked about extending qualification for election for municipal races so that just to make sure that they had enough candidates to be able to fill the open seats. So I haven't heard anything of that any town municipality is struggling or concerned they're not going to fill those seats yet, but it is something that I know I'm paying attention to. So if I have any new information along the line, I will let you know. But I'm going to quickly go through these 12 municipalities and how many seats that were basically given up or resigned. Manalapan, 5 resigned. Briny Breezes, 2 resigned. Gulfstream, 1 resigned. Ocean Ridge, 1 resigned. Cloud Lake, 1 resigned. Glen Ridge, 4 resigned. Hypoluxo, 1 resigned. Jupiter Inlet Colony, 2 resigned. Lake Clark Shores, 3 resigned. North Palm Beach, 3 resigned. South Palm Beach, 1 resigned. Village of Gulf, 3 resigned.
Lake Clark Shores, huh?
Yep.
Interesting.
Yep.
That's very interesting. After all the brouhaha of them trying to annex like that little like enclave at the a couple months ago, those 3 the people who were trying to annex it or not.
Was it the same 3 people?
They all. It was a vote. It was a unanimous vote to annex it, and this county stopped it.
So if you live in one of these municipalities, I highly recommend that you're paying attention to who they're putting in, how their qualifications are doing, making sure that this is an opportunity to serve in local government.
But anybody that's appointed is going to be under the same
Form
regulations.
6. Yep.
Form 6.
Correct.
So you
Correct.
just, I mean, I've taken a preliminary look at the form. And like I said, I had to fill out Form 1 for 2022 because I got appointed like in October. And I think the main difference is that Form 1, you didn't have to report amounts. You just had to like list any accounts you had, who your main source of income came from, whatever. Whereas in Form 6, I think it's like assets over $1,000. Any
Yeah.
assets
Yep.
over $1,000,
Yep.
like including like furniture and fixtures of your home,
Yep.
Yeah.
Art,
weapons, art, jewelry,
shoes, purses.
Purses,
Anything over
yeah.
1,000.
anything over 1,000 that you have to report on this form. So it can be a daunting task to fill it out. And of course, I'm sure that there's some electeds that don't want the public want them to know. Like,
I mean, it's a bit invasive if you have to list
It's
your
invasive.
weapons and like list some of your like. I understand if you have to do bank accounts and stuff like that, but really like your jewelry, your
Yeah.
purses.
Well, I think the biggest thing is that what I've heard about the biggest complaint from these elected officials is the fact that most of these positions aren't even paid, or they're very.
$1,800 a year, folks.
I mean, one of them, like I think they get $100 a month.
Yeah, $150 a month.
Yeah, so it's very or nothing.
Yeah.
So to be
gas
involved
money.
in your self governance and taking all of the risk, kind of, so to speak.
And exposing so much of your personal information. And
But the
Yeah.
forms, the forms, as far as I know, are not public.
Yes,
They
yeah.
are. Where are they posted?
They have to be there. It's public knowledge.
But where are they posted?
I would assume on where all of campaign
Like-
finance is
yeah.
posted.
But I mean, like at the local level, it's on the city's website. Like
So
like
it would-
campaign treasury reports are posted on the city's website.
So like I was just on recently on the state government
Well-
website. So like the state
Division of Elections.
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you, supervisor, and you can
That's
see all
where
of
I
the stuff.
think it needs.
I think that's where it'll probably.
That's
be.
where that's where it'll be. Okay.
I'm guessing. I don't know.
I'm assuming.
Yeah, that's a guess or an assumption. So
Oh,
if
I still
anybody
have
else
it pulled up.
knows out there, let us know. So,
I caught wind of that. There's some concerned electeds in Lighthouse Point
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
Have you had anybody resign yet? Do you know?
No.
Broward or
No.
anywhere around that you know of?
Not that I know of. I haven't heard. But I do know it is a concern, and it's being talked about.
And I did hear like this is kind of throughout the state in different
Oh, yeah.
areas. So
Well, according to rumors, state thinks that we have too many municipalities. in
yes,
the
that's
state.
very true too.
The state government thinks there's too many municipalities.
So if they can't fill the seats, it's a very good possibility their charter could be. null
They're going to
and void.
consolidate municipalities? That's what they're planning on doing?
Well, they
No,
can't
they're
do
just-
that, but this is a roundabout way of doing it, because if you can't fill your seats, you lose your charter, and then the city reverts either to who they were owned by before. So if they were part of another city, they go
Oh.
back to that city, or county,
Or
right?
county.
Lighthouse Point residents do not want to be Pompano residents.
So it'll be interesting.
I
to
don't
see
think they'd have that problem in Lighthouse Point because I think there's too many people there that would
that are willing to run. That's
that-
only if they have nobody to fill the seats.
Yeah.
right.
I don't know. I mean, yeah.
But I don't think it's gotten to that point.
I don't think so
yet.
either.
Like I said, most of them like they had alternates or they already had kind of.
Manalapan was 5. There's 7 on their council, right? 6. So wow.
6 of 7 resigned?
No, 5
5
of
of
6.
6.
5 of 6. Wow.
So do they have alternates? What are they doing?
Yes,
I feel like that's the one that's going to be the most impactful.
So I
And-
did
I mean,
find out that they did have replacements, and then they only need 2 members to fill back
so they can
up.
have some municipal elections.
Yeah.
in
So as
March.
long as they
Okay.
have 2, that they can.
And I'm not as familiar, obviously, with Palm Beach County as you guys are, but I mean, a lot of those are right along the coast.
Yes.
Those, yeah.
So they're like probably
end.
high net worth individuals
Yes.
in
Yes.
the seats.
Yep.
Yes.
They don't
That are
want
not
anybody.
making any money.
They're not making
there's
money.
a theme here.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
They're like, you know
But,
what?
I
I
mean-
did this so that I could be a part of my community and serve my community. I don't need all my information out on the internet.
But the question
I'm out.
is,
Right.
the question is, I mean, I don't know what your equivalent of like, Lauderdale Lakes, North Lauderdale, central part of the Broward County, like highly Democrat areas. Like, are they freaking out?
I
they
don't know.
Because I
That's a
mean,
good
I'm
question.
assuming that these are
More Republican.
Republican.
leaning. Yeah, they are. The
And-
coast is pretty
yeah.
red.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't
it's
know.
same in Broward. I just wonder if they're freaking out as much as the
I
Republicans
wonder if
are
like
freaking out.
I mean, we've got cities all over the county. If any of the cities in Sarah's district, like she's got like Belglade, the city of
Yeah,
Belglade, and like
Pahokee
Pahokee and
yeah.
stuff. I wonder if there's any.
These are all of the ones in Palm Beach County that I am aware of.
So
Maybe they're
none
just
of the
not
ones.
paying attention yet.
Well, maybe they don't care.
So wait, so then if it's effective January 1st, 2024 would be the first year that you have to file, so it wouldn't actually be due until 2025. Or do they have to submit it
No,
for
I think
2023?
they have to submit it if they're holding office January 1st.
23?
They have to submit it for 23.
Okay.
The due date is December 31st of this year, and then if they don't file, they're subject to fines and removal from office.
My Form 1 was due like around the 4th of July this past year for 22. And I had to file it with the
Maybe
county.
it's because this is new.
Maybe.
All I know is the form deadline is they either had to submit the form or resign by December 31st.
Okay. Okay.
Or be subject to fine or could be
I wonder how much
removed
the
from
fines are.
office.
Probably.
It was pretty hefty.
Yeah.
I don't
Hold
remember
on. Let me look at
number,
the form and see if
but
it's on the form. I still had the form up from
but it's
when I looked at it
pretty
the other day.
but it's pretty hefty. So that's my updates. That's all I have for now. You know,
Not exceeding 10,000.
A year?
$10,000 fine.
Doesn't say anything about. Well, I'm assuming it would be. So it says here. This is the Form 1. No, this is Form 6. Never mind. Yeah, the annual disclosure is due July 1st. If the annual form is not filed or postmarked by September 1st, an automatic fine of $25 a day will be imposed, up to a maximum penalty of $1,500. And then it says, in addition, failure to make any required disclosure constitute grounds for and may be punished by one or more of the following: disqualification from being on the ballot, impeachment, removal or suspension from office, or employment, demotion, reduction in salary, reprimand, or civil penalty not exceeding $10,000.
Interesting. But I wonder, it's probably due this time because it's new. So they're like, okay, now
Yeah,
you got, and
possibly.
Then it'll
This
go
could be
into
like
this,
a
That's
special
what I think it
special
happened.
reporting.
Yeah. Because it was new, they were giving them till the end of December instead of the September cut line to be able to determine what they wanted to do. So,
Yikes.
but
Yikes.
the Senate is going to hold them to it. So there's no getting out of it,
Oh,
folks.
man, there's no love lost between Tallahassee and the municipalities.
There's no
and the
love lost
county.
between Tallahassee and any other government. Let's put it that way. All right, Abby, what you got?
True.
Well, I'll piggyback off of that. I mean, so it's interesting. You were talking about like revoking the city charters and all that. I wrapped up last night with the Charter Review Committee in Lighthouse Point. We were committed to a year. We reviewed the final report that we're going to give to the commission and the mayor. There may, if the commission kicks it back to us, we might have 1 or 2 meetings in 24. But for all intents and purposes, that's done. But we went through the city charter, which it hadn't been done since 2004. It all came about because of what happened in Lighthouse Point last year with the mayor passing away, there being a special appointment of both the mayor, which then created a vacancy on the commission, and then a special appointment to that commission seat. And just, it was a very emotional thing. It was 2 weeks after the 22 municipal election. 2 weeks later, the mayor passed away.
That's crazy.
And so there was 4, including myself, that had just run 4? I guess it was just 3 of us that had run and not won that we applied. And then there were 7 other people from town that all applied. So there was 10 total. And, so all that to say, it was an emotional process just because, obviously it was sad that the mayor passed away. And then just the commission really struggled to try to come up with a way to figure out who to appoint, like what facts and what qualifications. And like for instance, I was cut from the first round. They narrowed it from 10 to 4, and then the final 4 sat before the commission and like did a Q&A. And I was cut because I'd never served on a board in town before. And they weighed that more heavily in the early part. But then they ended up appointing one of the candidates that had run in the municipal election just, the month prior, because he had just run. And I was like, you guys kicked me out before. I mean,
but he had served on a board before?
He had served on some, at least 1 or 2 advisory boards in town. And he was at, like, literally, he's been a good commissioner. He attends everything. He's retired, so he attends every single board meeting in town. He attends a lot of most of the city events. I mean, you see him around town. So, I mean, he's definitely put in the work, and has been pretty even keeled up on the commission dais. So now he has to run for election this coming March for that seat.
For that seat. Does he have? Well, nobody's announced fully yet,
No.
right? Because So
Yeah.
we'll cover that in January when we
Yes.
get into more municipal stuff. All
Yeah.
right. What else?
Um,
I mean, we can keep going. So
yeah. I mean, I'm trying to think of the. So, anyways, we wrapped up last night. It took all of 15 minutes. So it's just interesting. It's not super exciting work.
city government generally
had-
is not.
There were 3 attorneys on the committee with me, so they did all of the heavy lifting with the word parsing, and I'm just like, you guys are making my head spin. But it was good, and I think we did make some decent changes to the way things it's going to force an election.
So I have a question. When
Yeah.
you say like a charter review, every city has charters.
Yeah.
Charters can't really be changed without
It has to go on the ballot.
it has to go on the ballot.
Yeah,
So
so-
what is what's the process like? And is it is that like a pretty standard process that other cities
I
might
believe
have?
so, yeah.
So
So
what is that
basically, we
process?
make a report to the commission
Mhm.
with our recommendations and like the process that we went through. And included with that report is the list of ballot initiatives or whatever you want to call them. And there's about 8 or 9, I think, that we are recommending the commission consider. And most of them relate to, well, anything you change on the charter has to go before the voters.
Right.
So one thing that like we did end up doing, and when they first suggested it, I'm like, no, we're not dealing with pronouns. But we did make changes to the language of the charter to make it refer to the office. So filling the vacancy of a mayor, instead of like in a later sentence saying his office, it says the mayor's office.
Which makes sense.
Yeah. So so there weren't as many changes as we thought initially there was going to be. So, but that has to go on the ballot.
Right.
Like, shall the city charter be amended to? And it's very specific language. And a lot of times when there's constitutional amendments that try to, there's petitions filed to try to get these constitutional amendments on the ballot. It fails because they don't follow the rules.
Mm-hmm.
Like it can be only so many words for both the title and for the question. And, a lot of times like the questions are kind of confusing and stupid stuff gets passed
Yup.
because people, and sometimes it's on purpose. They word things.
Mm-hmm. I think we've all sat in,
Yeah.
I mean, I know I've sat in a ballot box and looked at ballot initiatives and gone, what the heck does
What
that
it-
mean?
what? Feral pigs? What? Do you remember that? That was on the ballot
I don't remember
a while
the feral
ago.
pig one.
When in doubt, vote no.
Yeah.
But sometimes that's tricky.
Yeah.
Because
Well,
sometimes they
sometimes,
trick you
yeah.
into
Yeah.
voting,
Well,
thinking that you
that's
should
true.
vote no, and
Yeah.
then you really should have voted yes,
yeah.
and then you ended up voting yes for it because you said, should this be changed? Blah, blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah. No, that shouldn't be changed,
That's
but then
true,
it should have been
because
changed.
even if you say no, that doesn't mean that there's no changes to be made.
Exactly.
Mhm.
They're sneaky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sneakies.
So anyway, so it goes to the commission in early January, and they have to decide like what, if any, they want to put on the ballot. And I think that'll probably, it's too soon for the March ballot. It's going to have to be the November ballot. I think
Interesting.
so, and I don't, have we talked about it here before about marijuana is going to be on the ballot?
I have been approached by many people in the parking lot very creepily trying to get me to sign to put marijuana on the ballot.
It's,
and
they got the number of
they did.
signatures. Yeah.
I mean, I'm not surprised.
So I'm sure there's going to be some lawsuits and stuff like trying to get it thrown out. But I think as of right now, I think they've got it.
It'll probably get passed. I mean,
And-
it was only a matter of time, which is
So
very
basically
annoying.
to do
Yes.
away with the medical requirement.
Right. You can just. The problem is, and I don't care. You do whatever you want.
Do what you want.
You
I mean,
boo.
I smell it all the time anyways.
You do
See,
you.
that's the part that I don't like. I don't like
Yeah.
having to smell it all the time.
It's
It's
so
so invasive. And then
strong.
not only that, then it becomes a smell everywhere that even if you're not in a place where it's being done.
Did you
can
fly in and
smell-
out of Denver this summer?
Yes.
Going to the airport, you pass through that warehouse district on the highway
Oh,
in your car,
yeah.
and you can
Oh no, you can smell it
smell
everywhere. When I was in the airport in Richmond, because in Virginia,
But
it was like just sitting in the airport. I was like, whoa, you
but
can just
doesn't
smell it in the
also
airport.
fall like under smoking regulations?
Yes and no, because you can vape it, and then
But if
it's
you vape it, you can't necessarily smell it. I mean,
depends. It depends.
But I also think it just clings to fabric, and
That's
that's
what it is.
Yeah, because it's
It just
So
lingers so
listen,
bad.
again, you do you. I don't judge. I don't care. I just am. Not, I don't know.
I don't want. Yeah,
I-
it gives me a headache sometimes. The smell.
So anyway, we'll cross that bridge when we come
I
to
think.
it.
I think that's all
That's
I
all
want to
you
talk
got?
about. That's all the updates, and we'll get into more.
Get to just some more fiery stuff.
yes.
Okay, well, I'm going to jump in straight to the
Let's
fire.
go.
Let's go. Okay, so I'm going to read something that I felt. Oh, someone's trying to call me, but let me reject that. I'm going to read something. So this is from the
Don't
Palm
they know
Beach.
it's podcast
I
night?
know, right? Who's calling me? Palm Beach County Republican Executive Committee mission statement. The Republican Executive Committee of Palm Beach County is committed to promoting Republican ideals and principles, recruiting and electing qualified candidates for public office, developing a grassroots organization that will motivate the electorate to vote, and raise the funds necessary to complete these objectives. I attended
and you can find that on pbcgop.com.
Yes, PBCGOP, palmbeach.gop, or PBCGOP, both of them.
Yep.
So it is here. This is the mission statement. If you are a part of the Republican Executive Committee, and I'm sure Broward's is a very similar
I'm
mission
looking
statement.
it up right now. Our website recently underwent changes, and so I have no idea what's on there right now.
But it is on the Palm Beach counties. This is our mission. So what does that mean? That means that we need to have strategy. We need to have focus to get multiple Republican candidates elected. And that means we need to be, let me backtrack. So we were at this meeting this week, and should I say, talk about the poll? Because it's already out there all over social media,
Yeah,
right? I mean, we were
something-
supposed to not talk about it, but it's already everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So we had in our Palm Beach County GOP meeting last week, they had a straw poll because there are people that would like to endorse Donald Trump for president on behalf of the Republican Executive Committee. Now, when it comes to endorsements of races where there are multiple Republicans in any race, municipal, any primary, anything, generally, we as Republicans are not supposed to take sides, and we as a party are not supposed to take sides unless there is I think it's a 60%, right?
Yes.
Majority vote.
So I want to dive into that a little bit because this is very important. The reason why we as a party do not endorse before a primary is settled is because the voters should be determining who the primary candidate is that the Republican Party then gets behind. Okay, so by doing endorsements at this point and at this part in the game, we're basically telling all of the voters we know better than you, and that we are your voice. And this is what we want. So I just want to be very clear. And I just want to read one thing.
And it doesn't say that in the mission.
It doesn't say that in the mission. So,
Mission.
FYI, there is no mission statement on the Broward GOP website right now.
Oh, that's interesting.
That's fun.
Yeah.
Li-
So
like I said, it's under construction.
I just wrote this out, and this is something that I wanted to read tonight. So we have to have cool heads and the better argument. Our federal government is broken. All we have left is local, and they are coming here. If we allow our own party to destroy itself over nonsense and not focus on winning local elections, we will have failed our children.
Yep.
So I want to be very clear that this is not about Donald Trump. This is not about Ron DeSantis. This is not about
Vivek.
any.
Nikki.
This is not
Asa.
about presidential elections.
Wait, I thought he was still in it.
Asa Hutchinson's gone.
Okay.
Yeah.
My
So
bad.
this is not about presidential elections.
No, no.
This is about how we stay in control of our local self-governance. That's what this is about. And if we do not hold this to the voters, we are no better than the Democrats.
Yup.
And we are no better than trying to take away the voice of the voters. So I just kind of had to say my piece and get that out.
So again, it says qualified candidates for public office. It does not say one candidate. It doesn't say just the president. It doesn't say that we should shoot ourselves in the foot in order to get Donald Trump elected. And that's what happens when you do this type of thing, because we live in a county that is not red, not very red, not red. It is purple. Okay.
And Broward is blue.
Broward is blue. So in Palm Beach County, we don't have the luxury of just saying if we get a Republican on whoever wins the primary is going to win the election like other counties in this state do. We have to fight for every one of those votes. We have to convince on PAs to come vote with us. And we have to convince in some districts, we have to convince some of the Democrats to come vote for us. That means we have to be able to speak to them. We have to be able to have conversations. We have to be able to talk to them on the issues that affect their daily lives. And if all they see is that the Republican Party is supporting Trump, then they're going to say, well, those crazy Trumpers, I'm not going to, because they have Trump derangement syndrome. They really do.
They really do.
And they can't see past that. But if we can say, no, that is up happening in Washington, you decide that in the ballot box, but let's talk about insurance. Let's talk about roads. Let's talk about.
It takes the focus off the
It
issues.
takes the focus off the
And
issues.
this is exactly what the Democrats want us to do.
Exactly.
Yep.
We're playing right into their hands.
Yep.
And those of us, especially those of us in this room that focus on political strategy, can definitely see how this is shaping up.
Oh, yeah.
And so this is not about not wanting Trump on the ballot. This is not about not wanting Trump as president. I want to be very clear about that.
This has nothing to do with that.
It has
this podcast is not
nothing to
doing
do
that.
with that.
Mm-hmm.
This has to do with how we take over and make sure that our self-governance is protected.
Right.
That's what this is about, and getting good local candidates in office. I attended an event with Rick Scott on Monday. First thing that came out of his mouth when he stepped on stage was, if you want to help fix Washington, D.C., vote in your local elections.
Right.
Yes.
So
First thing out of his mouth.
I want to bring that back. So what does that mean for us in the REC? So we sit in the REC, we're having this meeting, and the meeting was disrupted by people yelling, by people
Actually,
screaming.
Can we go back, Josie?
Yeah.
Let's go back to like what is a committeeman and
Right.
what
Okay.
that
So your committee,
that means.
a committee man or a committee woman is an elected official office. So you don't have to, the first time that you take that spot, if there is no one holding that, no committee person representing your precinct, you don't have to run for it. You can sign up for it, and you get elected by the rest of the committee into your spot, which is to represent. Because we live in a representative democracy. You represent your precinct to the party, as well as you represent the party to your precinct by going out and connecting with the people. Ideally,
you are an elected official.
You are an elected official. You know the people in your community. Your job is to rally the grassroots in your neighborhood to get them out to vote, to get them to rally behind candidates, to get them to volunteer on candidates' campaigns. Candidates. I'm going to emphasize the S on candidates, not one single candidate who is the leader of the party.
And for every 1,000 registered voters in a precinct, you get one precinct committee man and one precinct committee woman.
Yes.
And for instance, in my precinct, there's more than 1,000. I think it's a little over 1,000, like 1,100. So we have 2 of each.
Yes, mine precinct too. Actually, that's where
For
Marcy
every
and Michael.
one vote over the 1,000, you get an additional precinct man or woman.
Yeah, over every each
man
1,000.
and woman, I should say.
So if there's 2,001, you get 2.
3.
You get 3 of each. That's right. Thank you. 3 of each. So that is what, and then if someone is in your precinct and they would like to take your spot, that's when it would go to the ballot.
And if you look at the ballots, Democrats they're on the ballot. Like, Democrats run for those positions, and they have an election, and it goes on the ballot.
Because they have enough people who want to be on it.
Well, it really is a position of power. And for so long, the Republican Party, Democrats top down. They get their marching orders. They're like, they follow orders. This is what we do.
We don't.
We're
we
a
can't
bunch
even
of,
complete
it's like
meetings.
herding cats.
We can't even finish meetings because we lose quorum because people decide that they should stand up in the middle of the meeting, snatch a microphone out, and start yelling and screaming like it's their own personal podcast platform. Sorry, no, this is where you get to yell and scream. You work to get a podcast, you try to get an audience, and then you get to yell and scream just like we do. But you don't get to do it in a meeting where there's Robert's Rules of Order, where there is an opportunity for work to get done. I personally, I can only speak for myself.
We talked about this last episode, didn't we?
I feel like we talked about this a few episodes. You know why? Because the same thing happened. We were,
that's right.
I gave up.
That's
I
right.
really didn't want to go to the meeting, honestly. It was Hanukkah. I wanted to be home with my kids. It was a very chaotic week in our house. And I was like, I should go. I need to go. I made a commitment to go. I'm going to go. And I went and I left and I was like, what a bloody waste of time. And the thing that hit home, because the 2 big disruptions were stemmed from the fact that there's a chunk of people that don't understand the basic concept of what the job is as a precinct person. We're not there. It's not a Trump rally. We're not there to
And there's nothing wrong with that.
And there's nothing wrong with that. There are plenty of opportunities to do it. There's Club 47, which is awesome. A lot of people love going to that. They have great speakers. It's literally a
Trump
club.
Therapy Tuesday.
Trump Therapy Tuesday. There's literal Trump rallies. He's here regularly in Hialeah and different places. You can go to Trump. Get together with your friends, wear your Trump hat, do all it. Go for it.
You can join the Trump campaign.
I was going to say, that's exactly what I was
Join the
saying.
Trump
If
campaign.
you want to get out there and you want to promote Trump and you want to get him across the finish line, join his campaign. You can do both.
But it doesn't not say in our mission statement that is our one and only role. And if you don't understand what our job is, a committee person, then you are disrespecting the time of everyone else in that room
that are looking
to try to do the job of a committee person and get local candidates, get all the candidates elected, the whole Republican slate.
Yep.
We would like to get
start
elected.
Focusing where it's
where our voice
from
matters.
the bottom up.
Yeah.
Where our voice matters. Let's think about this. Us here in Palm Beach County or Broward County, if we endorse Trump from the dais of the REC, does anybody here think, raise show of hands, drop a 1 in the chat, if you think that that's going to get any more votes for Trump? Is it? No. But
No.
what is it going to get us potentially less votes for our local candidates?
Yes.
Okay. So then why would we do that?
And why it would do that is because every single Republican in Palm Beach County could vote and we will still lose.
Mhm.
That's the important part of that.
Yeah.
Every Republican could vote and we would still lose because Palm Beach County is pretty much a third, a third, and a third.
Mhm.
So it's
Broward's
a third,
even worse.
It's a third Democrat, it's a third MPA, and it's a third Republican. So we need the MPAs and we need to get some of those Democrats willing to vote Republican. And we have such an amazing opportunity to do
Yes.
that right now.
We absolutely do.
Because of the political climate, most of these Democrats have gone way left. That most of the
They're off the rails.
that most of the Democrats aren't comfortable. That we have really good local candidates that will win them over because they're so good.
Yeah.
But we need to give them the opportunity, and this will shadow them. This will overcome them. Everybody will start asking, well, are you a Trump supporter? Are Trump this, Trump that? They will make it about Trump. We cannot allow them to do that if we want to win these races.
And it's just short-sighted. It's not the long
Exactly.
game. I mean,
Yes. Let's win. Don't we want to win
have
stuff?
to. I mean, like Republicans have
Ay,
to
ay,
start
ay.
vying and just running for these local races because the local candidates of today are the congressmen a decade
That's
from
what
now.
Andy
Yes.
tried to do in Boca.
A decade
Yep,
and a half
yep,
from now.
yep.
He tried. They had him on track for governor. That's why the RPOF poured so much money into Peggy's race,
Yeah.
Peggy Gossett-Simon's race, because Andy. The rumor was Andy was right. He was starting to climb the ladder,
Mhm.
and they wanted to cut it off. And now he's crawling back to Boca, saying, "Please, please take me back." Vote Brian Stenberg.
Yeah.
Brian Stenberg.
Brian from
He's
Boca.
not, he's not in the chat yet tonight. But
Come
hopefully
on,
he joins
Brian.
us.
Maybe he's out campaigning. I hope he is.
He's
His
probably
daughter's
trying to
in
leave
town.
another party for 3 hours.
Yeah, he does that. We hook him in and then we just keep him there.
But no, I mean,
Sorry,
like,
guys.
it's so true. I mean, vote for who you want to in the primary. I mean,
Yes.
like, by and large,
And not only that, I felt very intimidated because I did speak out at
Oh,
this
yeah.
party, at this meeting of our party. And I don't necessarily publicize who I vote for in the general
Yeah.
stuff a lot of times. I just don't. It doesn't matter. It's my own personal business. And if I feel that I can't speak on who I want to vote for because I'm worried that then I'm going to get heckled, which I did get yelled at. I was told bah humbug because I said we shouldn't do this. You know, apparently I'm the, Grinch or whatever. And
No, you're fiery but mostly peaceful.
there it is. It's me, ladies and gentlemen. Notice the red in the background there. No. That's for Christmas. So I shouldn't feel like I can't speak and say who I want to vote for just because, what are we, Democrats?
yeah.
That's literally
Yeah.
what it's like. There's this hive mind that has
Yeah.
come out in this world. And that is why when I was sitting in that room and I saw how people were behaving, I was like, oh, that's why they called Trumpers cultists.
Yeah.
Because it felt
icky.
culty.
Yeah.
It felt
well, I mean,
so
I told you
icky.
guys. I think I told you guys our last podcast. Like, we had a similar thing happen in our last BREC meeting last month.
Yep.
We had a special election for the vice chair. That wrapped up, and then it was new business from the floor, and a member got up to say, she wanted to make a motion to nominate or to endorse Trump that night, but that's not following procedure.
Right. Which we had to explain from same thing. Same
Yeah.
people. Like Kevin, our chairman, Kevin Neal, explained the procedure like
You have
4
to
times.
You have to formally notice a meeting and a vote
and
like
the
that.
candidates and this and you run. Sorry, go ahead, and then we'll tell the other part.
No, so I mean, like, again, like you were saying, like, people started walking out. We lost quorum, and the meeting ended.
Mhm.
But I know that it is being planned that a special meeting is being planned for the beginning of January to hold that vote in the Broward GOP. So
So they are going forward. They
are
passed-
moving forward to to try to formally endorse Trump, forfeit state fees in the process. Could be upwards of $15,000 to $20,000 for 2024. It's looking like we potentially could have 2 separate meetings in January because they want to have it the first week before the qualifying period for the municipal elections even closes. And we're going to have to, have a candidate spotlight for them.
And do you think it will hurt you as a party in Broward if this?
I don't think it helps us one bit. I know there have been some members. Actually, someone commented on one of our Twitter posts here for We the Locals saying it would be a bold move. But bold to who? I mean, like the people that have Trump derangement syndrome, it's going to turn them off even more.
Exactly.
And if Trump is endorsed at the top of the ticket and then they have all these other candidates that they're endorsing for school board, for city commission.
They're only going to see their name linked with Trump.
They're going to link that
Right.
name with Trump, and the people that are turned off by Trump are going to be turned off to all of these down ballot candidates.
Yeah.
And it's going to backfire.
It is.
And for the people in the REC that's all they care about, they're missing the point of the REC.
And that's why I wanted to open what I was saying with our mission statement, because it's, and then someone said after I made my comment, and a couple other people made similar comments as I did about strategy and all these things. And then someone got up there and all they talked about was the identity of the REC. And aren't we MAGA Republicans? And aren't we this? And aren't we that? And honestly, I was like, what does that even mean? And why do I have to say that is who I am in order to be in the REC when that has nothing to do with the mission statement of the REC?
We need to be not MAGA, but as Rose says, we need to be local AF.
Exactly. Shout out to Rose. Speaking of Roe, I'm going to do our commercial for Roe. A renowned political scientist, Larry Sabato, once said, every election is determined by the people who show up. In today's world, it's more like every election is determined by the people who get out the vote. It takes it, I'll take it further. It's those who chase the most ballots who win elections. And we talked a lot about this on our last episode, so definitely check it out. Shout out to Ro for being our guest. Anyone who participates in a political campaign organization knows that they are inherently disorganized, fragmented, and reactive. And you have to deal with consultants, which are a combination of used car salesmen and parasites on a rhino's rear end, which, by the way, at this point, I don't even know what the word rhino means anymore. It's lost its meaning. So sorry, Ro.
Also, he just chimed in with, conflation is the problem. Palm Beach and Broward are not Lee and Brevard.
Exactly. Yes. Thank you. Yes, we did. Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
So they care more about funding their corner office than the candidate winning that office. This is where Salvo Journeys comes in. Salvo is a voter outreach platform that gives your political campaign, party, and PAC full control over voter outreach. It lets you do things like plan a campaign roadmap of activities, streamline petition signing, remind voters of important election dates, and of course, chase ballots during the get out the vote period. Influencing a voter takes at least 10 contacts. How do you keep track of who you have emailed, texted, door knocked, and sent direct mailers to? There are so many vendors and so many disconnected tools. Salvo solves all of this by allowing you to target the right voter with the right message at the right time. It unifies the fragmented tool sets into simple software to use with district insights, campaign milestones, voter data, segmentation, contact timelines, outreach productivity, and of course, voter outreach salvos. Salvo is cost effective because it eliminates the consultant and their vendor buddies, and it lets you go directly to the voter at the best price possible. There are 2 pricing models available, both very affordable. Month-to-month pricing for a DIY, a do-it-yourself platform, or you can hire a Salvo Journey guide for a month or more to get going and help coordinate your ground game. Texting, emailing, door hangers, and mailers are all at best in-market pricing. And the 2024 election year is going to be crazy. It's already starting to kick off as a little bit loony bins. Everyone's holding their breath, ready to go as soon as that new year rings in. So start planning your voter outreach now with Salvo Journeys. You can go to www.salvo.today, not .com, .today to create your account. We, the Locals listeners, get a free guided journey session to help you start your campaign, so make sure that you mention us when you contact them. Salvo Journeys, Campaign Victory Simplified.
And you did a whole demo with him.
I did
just the other day, right?
Yes, I spent 2 hours with Ro. Thank you, Ro. Showing me all the it's really cool. Yeah, I Nick was listening to me like because my meeting is in the dining room. So as he was like walking through the house, I would mute it and be like, this is so cool. So definitely contact Ro if you know candidates either both here local in South Florida or across the country. Salvo works obviously across the country, and We'd love to get
'Cause
some
it's
candidates.
that good.
It's that good. So, we're not the only ones having local elections, but it is very much designed for first-time candidates, small campaigns with low budgets to be able to have a more strategic approach
And
to
this
spending
was-
their campaign
this was-
dollars.
From what I remember and speaking with Roe, like this was beta tested for the whole last election cycle.
Yeah, all of 22 was
and
beta
and
tested.
it was really given like all of the feedback from the candidates and those that used
And the volunteers,
that used it, and Roe took all of those notes and really created a platform to be able to house all of those wants, needs, and things that he could foresee that would be beneficial and kind of putting it in one thing. And so that was very innovative
It's
and
really
very
cool.
smart. So thank you, Ro, for having our backs.
And the more it gets used, the better the data sets will be.
Of course.
So for example, one of the big challenges we had in Marcy's campaign, and a lot of people in Boca will have, is dealing with I'm going to go door knock in this area, and then you pull up and it's a gated community and you can't go in. Well, there's nowhere really to capture that data that's a gated community. And then for the next candidate down the road to go run in the same thing and have that, we just keep creating the same problems, over and over again and never solving them. So as people are more and more candidates, it wastes time, it wastes effort, it wastes money because that's data that's being pulled, and it impacts the strategy from the beginning. Because if you don't realize that that's a gated community, maybe you didn't build enough money in your budget to reach them because maybe they need an extra mailer.
Right.
So then that's an extra cost. So if you know that when you're looking at building your campaign strategy, if you know that you have X amount of houses in your district that are in gated communities, you could say, okay, we're going to put a little bit more of a percentage for the mailers for there. So anyway, that only comes from user use to put that information, and Salvo is able to track that and hold on to that data. So then if, when Marcy's termed out and she's done and the next person is running, they'd be able to take that and be like, oh, okay, now I know. So that's something that's kind of ground up. So people who are using it today don't necessarily have that, but that's the idea is that we build on the data and we build a pipeline for down the road for our candidates down the road. And we don't just think, again, Republicans are very good. We're very self-motivated and we're very self-aware, and we don't think like a hive mind like a lot of times. Well, we didn't until recently, like the Democrats do. Which is for mostly, I think, our benefit, but the detriment is we don't think about the long game, like you're saying.
Yeah.
We don't think about how our personal actions could impact down the road. We don't think about how our personal actions could impact our community as much because we are like, I have the answer, I'm going to go for it, because we have meritocracy.
Well, I think is what happens, and I was definitely guilty of this when I started in the Republican Party in early 21. I found myself very quickly in an echo chamber where it was like I attended the same events with the same people, got the information, listened to the same news, that I was not understanding really what was going, the 360-degree view of really what's going on the ground, and talking to people that don't necessarily agree with me, or being aware of what really, what an issue is for me. Maybe another issue is more important for someone else. Like, I really had to kind of check myself and be like, whoa, am I in an echo chamber?
I think it's always a good check for any of us ever. If you're starting to feel like to do that, to every once in a while, okay, maybe I should listen to a podcast of someone from the other side, or maybe I should look at the news from the other side and just see what is being said, because otherwise we just, yes, exactly.
Yeah. And so if we're not checking ourselves, if we're not, that's one thing I do like about Bannon in the War Room, is that he will do clips from MSNBC and, and CNN. So like, and it's really nasty stuff that these other stations and stuff are saying about Republicans.
They're crazy. I'm sorry.
They really are. And it's like, you kind of got to be like, wow, this is really what they think of us. And it's up to us to let people realize whether
sitting in that room, I was like, I can kind of see why they might think of this of us a little bit.
It's up to us if we want that to be true.
Yeah.
Because all this does is it kind of feeds into that. And there's this I like to call them the old time party leaders, that are locally on the ground, that have been in politics for a really long time, and they think that they are our betters now.
Mhm.
They think that they know more than us. They think that they have been in it a long time and they know how this works, but they have not. They're so in this echo chamber
Mhm.
that they do not realize that times and the status of our country and our local elections have changed.
Right.
And this was one reason why we elected a new Republican chairman into the Palm Beach County REC, because the previous chairman, I know when I came in, there was that big faction of us that kind of came in at the earlier 2021. And it was right after the 2020 election.
Mhm.
So we only won 30% of the Republican races in 2020.
Mhm.
So a lot of us were upset. And we looked to leadership of why was this okay? Like what were they doing? And they just wanted to recreate the wheel. They just wanted to keep
This is
doing-
what we did last time. We're going to keep doing it.
Right. And so we were like, no, wait a minute. And though we respected the leadership, we put up a challenger against that chairman. And that challenger lost. The old chairman was reelected, and we then provided and stood by that leadership. So because he won the election fair and square,
Gee, imagine that.
but our candidate that we put forth got vice chair. So we thought this is a great opportunity. We can bridge the old with the new. We have an opportunity to learn the things that we don't know about how the party works, understanding the rules and the regulations from the RPOF, and
Which governs all
counties.
All counties. And so then that chairman got appointed as a Palm Beach County commissioner, and then resigned from the party. We had another election, the REC. And it was by a lot. He won by a lot. So the vice chair became the chair.
It was a decisive victory.
It was a decisive victory. He is now the leader. And this old faction of these old-time party leaders
which we would love to learn from and say what worked, what didn't work. Like, let's talk about this. We've not had the opportunity.
No, and they're basically cutting off the new chairman at his knees. They're saying
Which are very long.
Right.
He's a very tall dude.
He is a tall dude.
He is a tall dude.
He is very tall. And look, he's not perfect. He is far from perfect. I will give him that. And I have spoke to him myself about what some of his challenges are. Was what I do love about him. The chairman of the REC for Palm Beach County is Kevin Neal, and he's very respectful. He's very nice. I've had several conversations with him. He's always been respectful to me. He's always asked me for my opinion. He's always communicated with me really well what his concerns are. And he's like, Jessica, what should I do? I give him my advice. Most of the time he takes it. And he takes in that information, or he'll say to me, I hear what you're saying. We can't do that, and this is why. We have a very good conversation about it.
Which is how
What a breath of fresh air.
things
Right?
function.
Right?
I want to say something real quick about people who are not giving him a chance and people who are judging him. A very wise rabbi once said, he who is without sin cast the first stone.
I know that, Rabbi.
I know, right? Very wise rabbi once said. And that keeps coming to my mind as I'm watching what's unfolding and people just nitpicking and going crazy. Like, what? Like, why are you so perfect that all he does is wrong?
They are holding on so tight.
To what?
Because they are so afraid that it's going to destroy the party. But in turn, they are destroying the party.
Because we're losing quorum and we're losing members. Week we're having less, each meeting we're having less people because nobody wants to come and sit through a 3-hour meeting of everyone screaming at each other.
Right. So I am the regional director of South County.
Right.
So I have a hard time getting members to come. I have a hard time getting members to stay. And the main thing that I hear is like, I don't want to go to those REC meetings at the Hilton anymore. I don't like them.
Guilty.
I don't get anything done. It's a late night and all people do is yell and scream and we can't even elect in new members that I'm trying to get to join the party. And so it's very frustrating when you have good people on the ground that really want to do the work and want to
Yeah.
get the candidates elected, candidates, and they can't even get elected as an REC member. It is so frustrating because our betters think that they know better than everybody else and that they should have full control and full reign, regardless of the fact that this was a duly elected chairman.
Right.
So I ask anybody who is in the Palm Beach County REC to give Kevin Neal 2 challenges. Those 2 challenges are for 2024. He has to win more than 30% of the Republican races that we have a candidate in. And he has to be able to raise enough money to be able to cover the operating expenses of our local charter, our REC, and to be able to have the funds to support the candidates that are needed to be able to put them in, especially the ones that are like the must-win races. Like we have seat 90. We have, I'd love to have a lot of efforts go against Lois Frankel this time. You know, like there's some seats that we are really close to being able to take over that we need to make sure that we have the resources that are needed to be able to take over those things.
Yes.
If Kevin is not able to do those 2 things, put forth a better candidate in 2024.
It's only a year.
Exactly. He only has until the end of 2024 to be able to determine if he can do this. And if nothing, I'm telling you right now, we're not going to lose more than 30%. We're not.
We're not going to lose more.
Meaning we're going to stay status quo.
Yeah.
If Kevin does nothing or if this happens, we'll be lucky if we get 30%.
Yeah.
If Kevin has an opportunity to put forth his ideas and his efforts, which I am well aware of, I'm privy to some really good information about what the ground games of the operation are for the Palm Beach County REC, and I am ecstatic about the messaging, the way that they want to handle volunteers. They want to make sure that all of the county is represented. It's really about a get out the vote effort and making sure that Republicans on the ground know what's going on. Give Kevin the opportunity to lead.
Here.
If he fails,
hit the clap button.
Nick doesn't know which
one?
button is
He
the
doesn't
clap
know the
button.
clap button.
I'm working on it. It's been a trial
And
by
I'll
fire
just
here.
add in here because I've been kind of quiet.
One last thing.
Okay.
If he fails, put forth a better candidate. And I will personally make sure that we elect the best candidate for the job. I will whip the votes of whoever that best candidate is for the end of 2024. But back off, let him lead so that we have an actual opportunity to win. And if you don't do that, I am going to just lose my freaking mind. Because
we'll lose the
County,
party. People are going to be out. Like people are out.
Exactly.
People don't want. I can only speak for myself. I don't want to waste my time. Like I want to get the work done. I am here. I give up time with my kids. I'm here on a night that's my son's birthday in order to speak to people, in order to try to make a difference so that I can make his future better. I can make my kids' future better. And if other people don't want to join me in doing that, and they want to not join me in doing that, but they want to work against it because for whatever reason, you don't like that he said this, or you don't like that this happened, or whatever. Come on. We are literally about to lose our country. And everyone's going to be screaming because they don't like the person standing at the microphone. Those people, you don't understand your job. Again, your job, that's why I go back to what is the mission of your job? And if you're not mission focused, then go find a different mission to focus on.
Yeah.
Go support. I support you in doing that.
Exactly.
But this is the mission of the REC. This is the mission that I joined to support. And we've all joined to support. And so join us in doing that, because I think we can do a lot of really good things. We have some really great candidates in South County.
Yes,
we have some
do.
really great opportunities to flip some seats. Like we really do. And
we have an opportunity to increase our tent.
Yes.
And in South County, my focus is
Wait,
on
Abby,
education,
Go ahead.
engagement, and empowerment. That is what my 2024 is going to be in South County and on this podcast. I promise that I will do what I can to educate you, engage you, and empower you to be in charge of your self-governance. So please join us. Please help us. If you want to join the REC, you can email us. You can,
if you are a brave, person.
if you are willing to start putting this faction to rest. They do not have the votes. They do not have the ability to take over the party. They don't have it. But if people start losing, they will. We have to, what's the word I want to look for? We have to keep charging on.
And if you're in this faction, join us.
Yes.
Let's just work together. Nobody's trying to run you out of anything.
Absolutely not.
We would like to hear what worked and say, hey, maybe that worked. So let's take that part of it and say, let's try this instead because that didn't work.
Everybody will have a voice if they use a calm, level head and have a good argument.
We have to work together. We can't be doing this. And so, like Olive Branch, man, here's the flowers.
Here's my 2 cents.
Yeah.
Join or die.
Ooh, I like it.
Fiery but mostly peaceful.
We trade off on the fiery sometimes. And then
Our
the
house
other
can
half.
be really intense.
That was my rant for this evening. So
Abby.
thank you so much for letting me get that out because I have been stewing on this.
Yeah, this has been rumbling. It's just why we knew exactly the name of the podcast.
And my South County region meetings, starting next year, this is what we're going to be focusing on. So we're ready to get the hard work done and make sure that we're powerful in 2024.
Yeah. I just want to chime in as someone that did run for chair and unfortunately was not successful. I fully understand that the main responsibility of the chairman is to raise funds.
Yes.
He has to be the main fundraiser of the party. So, I mean, it's do or die. And I have concerns.
Or join or die.
Join or die. As the treasurer of the Broward GOP, I know what our funds currently are, and I know where we were in 2021 and 22. Just based on obviously publicly available records because I wasn't the treasurer then, but I have serious concerns going into 24. Just obviously our late chairman passing and just all of the upheaval that we've had the second half of this year. We're not where we need to be, but hopefully we can pick it up and fund our candidates. But I'm gonna do my part. Part of my part is running for a local seat. And being a local candidate.
Whoop, whoop.
And, I did that in 22 and kind of learned as I went.
What? You put the airplane together while you were flying it?
Pretty much.
Isn't that what we all do?
It's like Bill O'Reilly. Have you ever seen the clip of Bill O'Reilly back when he was on Inside Edition? He's like, we'll do it live. We'll do it live. I think he used a few more colorful words than that.
Oh, come on, Abby. No, I'm just kidding. Get the beat button.
Yeah,
ready. No, I'm just kidding.
Nick needs to get the beat button ready. But,
Which one's
Not
that?
Not for Abby.
You should have heard that in studio, folks.
We definitely have to recruit local candidates. I know that the congressional seats get all the glory.
Yes.
And in Palm Beach County, the state seats, I was looking at the things for District 94, the Rick Roth's open seat, about to be open seat. There's 5 candidates, 4 or 5 candidates running for that in the Republican primary.
Oh.
One of them has over $100,000.
Shoot, when one of the school board members filed last year in Broward for the at-large seat, do you guys have at-large seats in Palm Beach? No, we have 2 at-large seats.
That's why, because you've got 9 board members.
Yes, he put over $100,000 of his own money in.
Wow.
Yeah, hers didn't say a loan either. It just said it's money.
Really?
Yeah, I was like,
a Republican.
A Republican.
Wow.
Of one of the
the new finances come out. I think they have they'll come out in January.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
the December.
So end of
quarter.
Yeah, because they're quarterly reports right now.
So I'm very excited to see mid-January where.
Yeah, it was fun. I went down a rabbit hole the other day looking at seeing who
I
was
actually I was on the Division of Elections website today because I got a call from a state candidate in Broward doing his dialing for dollars.
Hear that? Dial for dollars.
Dial for dollars. So they want to beef up the numbers
to your local candidates.
Yeah,
yes.
Donate to your local candidates. I highly recommend them. You can donate to your local Republican Executive Committee, of course. I don't recommend donating to the RPOS.
Or the RNC.
Or the
Or the
RNC. And I'm like, am I going to get blacklisted or something? RPOF, sure. And RNC, no. But donate to your local candidates. And
Yeah.
Tucker
donations,
said that the RNC was obsolete and not necessary.
I don't disagree.
I mean, they're not doing. Did you say I think they only have like 9 million on hand right
well,
now.
it's because nobody's donating to them. So donate to your local candidates, even if it's like $5 here, $10 here, $20 there. What really helps a lot of these local candidates is small dollar donations, because then they are able to take that to some of these bigger PACs where they that want to donate to candidates that the people like.
Yep.
Yeah.
So if you like a candidate and you can donate $5, even though it doesn't seem like it's much for that candidate, it helps not just the monetary
Right.
side of things, but it also helps them show some of these
Helps
bigger
them with the state party.
with the state party and some of these business PACs and
Yeah.
things like that want to donate to
the
candidates
big
who
money donors.
the
Yeah.
big money donors. So it all builds. So money builds money.
And on the
Money
monetary
breeds
side, I mean,
money.
like social media ads
Mhm.
and text messaging and stuff. Like
Text
that's
messaging so cheap,
it's so cheap.
especially in Salvo.
Yes,
Yeah.
I will.
All in app.
Nice plug.
Thank you.
Salvo.today.
Salvo.today. Go there today.
It does $5-10 does make a big difference.
Makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
I think you could send, a bucket of like, I'm not going to say all the prices, but yeah, you can send like $5 sends a lot of text messages when
Yeah.
they're 3 or 4 cents a message.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And that's great for Palm Beach County, especially because we have so many gated communities. It's a
Yes.
great
Yes,
way
that's
to
how you
connect
reach
to
the
people.
voters behind
Yep.
gates
Yep.
without breaking the law.
Yep.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
Which, by the way,
Which I-
if you do live in a gated community, I think we might have talked about this, the
We-
HOA.
Yep.
We did.
talked
Okay,
about
so
it
just a
last time.
reminder, if you weren't listening to the last episode, you should go back and listen to it. But if you live in a gated community, it is now illegal in the state of Florida for an HOA to prevent you
Oh, yes.
from having a political meeting in your
I'm
HOA.
going to read it.
So
yeah.
if you would like to host a candidate, have a REC meeting or whatever it may be, legally they cannot tell you no. So take advantage of that. Let's get us into those. Get our Republican candidates into your community. So yeah,
Let me
fiery
look
but
up that-
mostly peaceful.
I'll look up that statute really quick.
Thank
Hold
you.
on.
Do we have any comments?
Yeah, well, Roe's been commenting all evening.
Row.
He said, Nick has been known to know what's good. I think this was back when you were talking about doing the demo.
The demo.
And he said, stay away from tribalism. Think more about the ways and means to help
Yes.
conserve our freedoms and rights.
Yes.
And I
Is
mean,
that local AFRO?
that's local AFRO, yes. I mean, that's why I got involved.
Yeah,
Because the erosion
too.
of rights and
Mhm.
freedoms during 2020, and it was at the local level.
Yep.
Like, that is why I'm so passionate about the local level.
Local AF says
Local
it all
AF.
like it really does.
He said, focus on 2 things: candidate recruitment, voter contact, and make sure the donors are aware of what you're doing. Yeah, and that's the chairman's job, to show the donors, to bring to the donors, hey, these are all the things we're doing to get Republicans elected in our county. Will you help us? Will you join us?
Yes.
And, you have to be able to utilize your network and work those donors and prove to them, sell them on why they should be supporting the REC.
And the people that are trying to bring down the REC or the chair, if that's what they're trying to do, you're not helping that, because they will hear the rumor. I'm sure the rumors are out there that we're talking about it now, but everyone's been talking about the meetings and and it is not the fault of the chairman that the meetings are being derailed. They are the fault of the people who are derailing.
This sounds
the
like our meetings the last 2 years in Broward.
Well, it is what happens is that people get lost, right? There's what's so great about the REC is that we actually have an opportunity to like kind of rein people in. There's this general place for them to go to be like, I want to help. I don't know where to get started. The REC is a great way to
Right.
do that. Otherwise, they're looking at candidates. They're, filling out their volunteer
Right.
form. If somebody doesn't call them right away, they can easily get lost, especially with like small municipal elections or things like that. If they don't have the campaign team to be able to follow up with volunteers and things like that, the REC, and especially people like me, who's a regional director, can be like, these are our volunteers. We're going to go help this candidate this weekend. We're going to focus on this candidate that weekend. And, hey, the candidates then can contact me and be like, hey, I'm going to go door knock, and then I can send a message out to all of my members, that are in my region, saying like, hey, this, Brian Stenberg is gonna go knock on doors this weekend. If you're interested,
He is, by the way. Probably not this weekend. It's not Christmas.
Yeah,
but
probably
next
not
week,
this weekend, but
January.
after the first of the year, he'll definitely be out there again.
Hit the ground running.
Yeah,
That's
exactly. So the REC is just such a great tool
Yes.
to be able to be effective. Otherwise, we're all scattered. We're not organized. There's no continuation of messaging. The Democrats have a fine-oiled machine.
It
And
is
we
incredible
have-
to watch.
We have an opportunity to do that locally in our region. So also I want to give a quick shout out to North and Central region
Yes.
for the REC for sharing our podcast information
Thank
with
you.
your members, because we want to make sure that we educate everybody, and I love all of you. We all have the same mission of winning and getting Republicans elected.
Republican candidates
Yes.
elected.
So
Candidates.
that Florida statute regarding the HOA
Yes.
is 720.304. So Florida statute 720.304.
So look that up if you are in an HOA.
Ro also said that you dropped the biggest gold nuggets for fundraising there
What?
back a few minutes ago about like the text messaging and the
Is that good or bad?
social media ads, and how
Thanks. Yeah.
small dollar donations can
Yeah.
then be shown to the bigger donors to get more money in. Totally agree
This
with
is
that.
strategy. Listen, the Democrats beat us because they have strategy
Mhm.
and they have plans and they all follow the strategy. And I am not saying we need to be like the Democrats and all fall into line and do all of these things, but we should at
Exactly.
least say something's working. Let's
Yeah.
see what's working and what can we extrapolate from that and apply to us to say maybe we need to not be fighting about this, that, or the other thing and say what's working for
Yeah.
them. Because I personally would like to win.
Mhm.
I like to win.
Yes.
Imagine
So
that,
I know.
winning.
I imagine winning. Like and I will say this too. 2022 really, really reaffirmed my faith in government, in the election process. Not my faith in government. I retract that. It reaffirmed my faith in the election process and that normal people can get elected. By seeing
Yes.
Marcy get elected, Peggy get elected,
Brenda
and
Pham
Brenda
in
Pham
Broward County.
and Sarah get elected, John Brody getting
Mhm.
elected. Seeing some of these candidates get
Mhm.
elected has really restored my faith in the election process. I know it's not perfect in Palm Beach County. It's not perfect in Broward County, but we are seeing steps in that
Yeah.
direction. And we need to say, what can we do to keep that momentum going?
And that's because they got organized on the ground.
Yep.
Which,
and
by the way, is in the mission.
right.
It says
And-
grassroots.
and
What
we
is
had a mission.
grassroots?
And if
If
you
we had a
could-
mission.
And just imagine if we were to do that under the
Mission.
umbrella of the REC, how much more magnified and
Yes.
how much more organized and effective we could be by using that tool.
Yeah.
Really quick, Bill Reicherter reached out to me. He's running for state
House.
House
90.
90. 90.
Whoop.
I
Which-
mentioned.
Sorry, go ahead.
Go-
Which has a very good chance of flipping.
Oh yes,
Very
good
good.
chance, very good chance. So I mentioned the bill that Joe Casello about
The
the,
pet
Who holds
cremation.
that seat right now? He holds that seat right now.
So
He's running
Joe-
for re-election.
Yeah, so Bill just wanted me to mention that the residents have no place to be buried in Boynton.
Mm-hmm.
The
Um,
residents' pets.
No,
the
just
the residents.
The residents.
Oh yeah, burial in Boynton Beach right now is like the hottest topic. The cemetery is full. They don't have any place.
Yeah.
It is causing all. It's a thing. It's a
Yep.
big thing right now.
Yep. And so basically, Bill's saying Joe's position on burial is pets over humans.
Oh gosh.
Mm.
So Bill just wants everybody to know that you can bet that he'll make sure that your pet's cremation rights are protected, but he'll also help the residents as well.
I mean, I love my Buster Boy,
In a matter of speaking.
But you're.
but yeah, I'm sorry.
Sorry. Oh my gosh.
Hard hitting topics here, folks.
Like, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It's not like people can't afford groceries.
Yeah.
But this is
Yeah.
what the bills that they're writing. We can't afford our insurance.
And I was going to
but
say
this is
this
the bills that they're
earlier. I was going to
writing.
say this earlier, and then I didn't. The Democrats, while they seem to be in control in the Tri-County area, especially Broward and Palm Beach, they're impotent
Yes.
and powerless in Tallahassee, and so they create these and sponsor these bills like the pet cremation because they know it's not going to go anywhere when they get up to Tallahassee. It's going to die in committee.
But
it's
it helps
gonna...
their record as far as putting bills.
Oh,
forward.
I
They
sponsored this
did
bill.
this.
I
They
pushed
did
this. I
something.
did this. This
Yeah.
is what I'm doing
Even
for
though at our last-
$29,000 a year.
Legislative delegate.
This is how Lois Frankel keeps getting elected. I
Yep.
think I say it every
Yeah.
Yes, you do.
podcast
Yep.
episode, but it is so true. Like I want this woman to go down so bad because she lies. She says she's for the
All
people.
politicians lie.
I know, but she brings
They're talking, aren't they?
If their lips are moving, they're
They're
lying.
not the good candidates.
He's
Not
lying.
the good candidates. The
Well,
good
they're
candidates
not
are about-
politicians.
Right. They're about integrity. But Lois Frankel comes, she hands out these checks, she talks about balance and working in the community, and then her record, she votes with the Democrats 99% of the time, including the squad.
With the squad.
Rose
And
says,
Palm Beach County says, "Yay, let's keep voting for Lois Frankel because she helped with my balance."
I'm totally gonna do that. What's Ro? Weigh
He
in,
says-
Ro.
time to go Viking burial style. Bring Fido.
There's plenty of real estate
Just
out there.
push that pyre out onto the...
A little bit further out.
out onto like Ida. Or,
There's
I don't
a
know, what's
bill
that going-
for you. There's a bill for someone to write. Let's make that legal. No more writing bills. You know you can retract bills.
Yes.
You don't have to
Yes.
write new bills.
I'm telling you, any candidates that are listening, if you focus on in 2024 about retracting or getting the foot of the government off of the people's necks, you will get elected from every party. I'm telling
Like
you.
that.
So it's a winning message.
And then you have to stick to it when you get up there because we will be watching you.
And focusing on the American dream, like bringing back the American dream and what makes America great. Those are winning messages.
Dreams. Sorry.
Should we
What
break
makes
into
America
song?
great is dreams.
Should we break out into song?
Listen, I love you. My life is a musical in my head all the time anyway. I mean, if you guys just want to join me.
You can sing Dreams by Fleetwood Mac
I
as
know.
long as you're drinking some ocean spray juice.
The cranberry juice.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So, anything else? Should we wrap it up or any other comments, questions? Drop a Rumble rant or I forgot to mention that. I just said comment, but drop a Rumble rant or a what's it called? A super chat if you'd like to support us. We'll read them.
Yeah, I mean, the best support that we can get is if you, like and subscribe to our channels.
And share.
Share the podcast. Share our
share.
social media.
Even if you don't like us, share us.
Yeah. Even if you didn't like the fiery, but
I was
peaceful.
fully expecting more, monetized hate tonight, but it didn't really show up.
Man.
I know.
We need to get it out there. You could sponsor us. We're looking. We're going
You
into the
can
new
also
year.
just go to our website and donate.
You can
can
do
click
that
the
too.
donate button
Candidates,
and just
if you'd
give
like
us a
to,
few bucks.
yeah, you could do that too. Donate to us, or candidates, if you'd like us to shout you out. Some of the candidates we shout out for fun, but if you want to sponsor us,
our OG supporters.
We're gonna start being a little bit more restrictive about
Yeah,
that.
coming in January, we'll be like,
coming into January.
we
So-
don't see that.
Yeah, so
we don't get the shout
Mr.
out.
Stenberg's going to have to file some in-kind contributions for all the times we shout him out on the podcast.
Yeah,
It's true. It's true.
That's
Is
very
John
true.
Brody up for re-election, or is he?
No, not
he's
for
not.
4
Okay.
years.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I
he'll be up,
wasn't sure.
was that 27, I guess?
Okay. Oh, we gotta get through this year, and then we'll.
Oh.
we can start focusing.
Oh,
Can I just say real quick that if you do donate to We the Locals podcast, I can personally vouch that money doesn't go in the CEO's salary like some big nonprofit.
Salary? What salary?
Exactly. No, it goes straight into the work.
It
And
just
keeps
as you
the
were saying
lights on,
tonight,
people.
Keeps the lights on.
Just
The
keeps
pretty
the lights on.
Which I want to give. Actually, I've been meaning to do this. A shout out
yes,
to our
yes.
podcast studio. It's Invictus Studio, in Deerfield Beach. Legia thank you so much. She is amazing here. Her and her husband own this studio. They are on standby anytime we need anything. And do you want to say something?
Oh yeah, I mean, she is very hands-on, and like we're probably a more complicated podcast client than most because we do live stream. I think a lot of people come in and record their podcasts and release them, but she's always on standby for all of the techie stuff that we need her to help us with, and she saved my butt today because I thought I had scheduled all of our bookings through the end of the year, and I must have stopped at our last podcast, and so she texted me this afternoon and is like, OMG, like, I saw your social media, and you don't have it booked tonight. I was like, what? What?
Abby almost.
And she moved mountains to, she got it she got it done for us, and we really appreciate her.
Yes.
We really appreciate just all the help that she's given us, and we appreciate the space and the place to come and do this and have so much fun doing it. It's convenient to all of us. It's barely in Broward County, and it's just it's been
It's
fun,
awesome.
and we really appreciate her and the studio space,
Yeah.
and
And all of you, our viewers, we really do.
Yeah, we
we wouldn't be here without you, and we would appreciate you sharing so we get more viewers.
yeah, I think I'm hopeful that going into 2024, people are going to be paying closer attention to politics, especially the local stuff. I mean, it's just it's hard. It's a slog. I mean, like Jessica was talking about at the beginning of the podcast, like budget season's going to start here at the end of the first quarter,
So
and like you
boring.
literally, and we've been hammering this like all fall. I think you have to be paying attention throughout the year. You have to like stay in tune to what's going on because the wheels of government turn very slow, and it's on purpose. I think Brian Stenberg said that. It's a good thing because it takes a long time for some of this stuff to come to fruition, but it gives the residents and the voters the chance to observe and to be part of the process. And so what we're doing here and the information that we're trying to get out is so important to help you guys stay informed, like what to look out for. I mean, we've got 5 school board seats in Broward on the ballot in
That's
24.
crazy. You could
5 out
flip
of
the
9.
board.
You could flip the board. And we've got to find candidates to run for. I know of one declared candidate. Obviously they're nonpartisan seats, but Dan Fogenholy, who was appointed initially to seat 5 or District 5, then to District 1 when the felon failed to qualify.
Shocker! Thank God.
He is going to be running for election for that seat in District
that's
1.
good.
So he's
Okay.
already declared. I haven't heard yet. I know Tori Alston, who was also appointed guest of the podcast.
Yes, that was a great episode. You
He
can go back and listen to
he
that.
still has not announced what his plans are, but I know that he has some plans. So we'll see what Tori ends up doing. But these seats and all 9 seats in the Broward County Commission are Democrat. And
Yep.
I know we've got some people in Broward County that are trying to flip some of those seats. But even lower, we've got to find candidates to run for each city commission seat.
Yep. But your qualifying is not over yet, right?
Qualifying period for the March municipals is January 2nd through the 9th.
Oh, okay. For everybody in the county?
I checked the 3 cities where there are municipal elections in Broward, and all 3 cities have
See, it's
January
crazy.
2nd through 9th.
Boca's was done like the first week of November.
You had to qualify in November?
Yep.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
No, all 3 cities is January 2nd through 9th.
They moved it. So Boca, when I ran in it was 2020 when I filed, and the election was
Right.
in 2021. It was mid-December.
Okay.
And then last year in 22, they moved the qualifying very quietly to be the week after election, the midterm election.
That's crazy.
It's so bad.
early.
It was too early. It was sneaky because
shady.
it was very shady because let's say Marcy had lost her election. And she was like, okay, I'm going to pivot and run for city council. City council. There was not enough time. She wouldn't have even been able to close out her books on
Right.
the commission campaign and to be able to open one in the city. So it was very.
How
It
did
was
they?
shady.
I mean, who gets to vote to move those dates? Is that a
The
city?
city decides when they're going to do it. I don't know the process. If Brian is watching, he might know the process. I think they just decide.
Okay.
And they say this is what we're doing,
Yeah.
and that direction
Yeah, I'm
probably
sure
comes from the mayor and the
I'm-
city council.
Yeah,
I will-
I'm sure
I-
it's on their agenda.
Yeah,
They
it
do a
was,
motion,
because,
and then it passes.
Lighthouse
nobody's
Point
there
just had
'cause
it on
nobody
the
goes to the
agenda.
meetings.
Right.
Lighthouse Point had it on the agenda within the last
and it
month
protects
and a half.
them. It protects the people who are doing the vote.
Yeah.
So, all right. I think we should. Anybody got anything else before we wrap it up? No.
I'm
Thanks,
good.
Nick, for
Yeah, thanks for
joining
filling
us
in, Nick.
tonight
My
and
pleasure.
and doing that. If there was anything wrong with the sound, you can blame
Miss-
him.
Maybe one of these times Buster will be the sound guy.
This is Buster.
Aw, Buster.
Aw,
Love
he's
that
the
guy.
sweetest thing.
I love
Oh,
that guy.
So cute.
All right.
Yes, Miss Stu tonight. Thank you for helping us out earlier, Stu. Definitely.
Yes, thank you, Stu.
You were missed. Thank you, Nick, for
I'm just
taking over. We definitely appreciate your help this evening. Be sure to check out our sponsors, Salvo.today. today, and our 30 agency. If you want to email us, you can email us at wethelocalsfl@gmail.com. If you want to check out our website, it's wethelocalpodcast.com. You can check us out for sponsorships. You can donate on there. You can also check out our current sponsors. There's links to their website. It's right on our website. So be sure to check that out. Also, links to our episodes are on there as well. So if you are new to listening, be sure you can check out all of our episodes on Rumble, YouTube, or there's the links through the website.
And Spotify.
And Spotify.
That's
Yes.
right. We are on
Yes.
Spotify.
Yes.
So if you've got a road trip planned, load up
Load
on
them
the
like-
locals.
That's right. Boom,
I
boom,
promise
boom.
you will laugh. You will learn something. Definitely check us out. So I want to say have a great night. Merry Christmas.
Merry
everybody.
Christmas.
Happy New Year.
We'll see you in the new year, and be sure to stay local. Have a great night, everybody.
And fiery but
Bye.
mostly peaceful. Bye.